time, you'll probably see that I am going to start to record the session. So from this point on, we are recording the session, just letting you know there is a disclaimer, just so that you understand that everything that we are doing from now on is being recorded. We are going to be showing this video for those people that could not either make it and or missed the time to see this video. Again, my name is Ms. Cynthia Castro. I am the Director of Professional Development. I am here with two amazing ladies that are going to show you the pretty much the whereabouts of Google Classroom and a Seesaw. I'm going to introduce Ms. Denise Gallegos. Again, once again, people, if you can please make sure that you do mute yourselves so that there is no distraction. If you have questions, just go ahead and post the questions on the show conversation tab. That way you can have your questions. I will be moderating towards the back end and trying to answer some of those questions that you're asking. Let me go ahead and begin with the introduction of Denise Gallegos. Denise Gallegos is an amazing specialist for the ICT department. She knows a ton of information on computer technology and so forth. So Denise, you want to introduce yourself just real quick, and then after you, we'll go ahead and introduce Lorena, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Go for it, Denise.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Denise Gallegos, and yes, I'm from the ICT department representing, and here we focus on educational technology. So any questions with concerning the different different platforms we're going to be talking about, they're welcome. So we hope you have a great time learning today, and that you feel you have a more of an understanding of what these platforms are about. Welcome, and welcome everyone.
And then Ms. Lorena Martinez, I don't know if she's on here. Yes, she is. Awesome. There is Ms. Martinez. She also works with the ICT department, and she is our lead teacher for the ICT department. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Lorena, please. My friend, you got to unmute yourself. That's okay.
I'm following strict orders, Ms. Castro. So thank you all for being here. Good morning. My name is Lorena Martinez, and I am one of the technology lead teachers for the ICT department.
Lorena, you went mute again.
Okay, something's going on here. My apologies. So thank you all again for being here. Let's see, the third is, okay. Third one is a charm. So I am Lorena Martinez, and I am with the ICT department. Also, we provide training in educational technology integration. So I'm happy to be here to show you some of the platforms that we're using, very powerful tools. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lorena, so very much, and Ms. Gallegos. Okay, guys, so again, myself and Lorena and Denise. Denise will do the introduction, I believe, of Seesaw, and Lorena will do the introduction of Google Classroom. If you have any questions, please make sure that you post them on the show conversation. It's like a little comment box in there, and then I will try to answer some of your questions. If I cannot answer the questions, what I will do is I will tell you to contact Mark Stevens from Human Resources. Just a quick reminder, make sure that your mute button is selected and that you are muted throughout the entire time of the conversation. Okay, go ahead, Denise. You're good to go, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Castro. And yes, let's get started. So we are going to start with Seesaw, and we are going to hear about Seesaw in the elementary levels. So I'm just going to ask a question. Can you all hear? I know that the mic is not muted,
yes,
but
yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we're going to start with a couple of reminders. It's going to be with a focus, of course, of remote learning. Give me a second. And we're going to start with a couple of reminders. Just make sure you, like Ms. Castro mentioned, questions can be asked throughout the chat, throughout the session. There's going to be a time for Q&A, so questions and answers will be answered then. Just remember to mute your mics, and yes, we'll be good to go. I know there's going to be plenty of questions coming this way, but We'll give you some time so we can continue with one section, and then we'll get some time for the questions, okay? So the first thing we're going to talk about is looking at the Seesaw, the platform it's a journal for students in elementary. We use it on the elementary levels. It is a digital portfolio where students keep their track of their learning. So just think about the binder in the classroom that when you go into when the students are in different classrooms, they have this big binder where they keep track of all the work and all the students' resources that teachers share with them keep being added there. The same thing happens with Seesaw. So Seesaw will be your digital portfolio, and it will be just in chronological order, saving all your work, and that will be added to the journal by the either teacher or students. And it will, like I said, if you let I'm just going to start with a quick look at the journal so you can see how it looks. I am not going to go over the login process because we do need to get access first by teachers, so that would be something else. And maybe before we the end, we'll talk about that. But right now, let's see you're logged in already. So this is exactly what you would see in the teacher's account. Okay. So once you're logged into the teacher's account, you will be able to see the journal. So as you all notice, and I'll just highlight some areas that I think are going to be very important for you to pay attention to once you're visiting these classrooms, because there's some of these areas that you don't really are going to be looking at, and I'm not going to overwhelm you with so much, but we'll pay attention to the most important things that you'll have to look at. So we have when you open Seesaw, let me just go into Seesaw so you can see exactly my login, but you can just see exactly what happens when you log in, right? So let me log out completely. Okay, so I'm gonna log out, and once I come in, of course, with your credentials, I'm gonna sign in as a teacher. And this is exactly what you see. So you have the journal view. So in here, you will be able to see on the right-hand corner, that section, this is going to show you the teacher's name or the teacher's class, however the teacher's going to name it, you're going to see it here. And then underneath that, you're going to see the journal view and the activities tab, which we're going to be talking about very much today. The journal view is going to be where you actually are right now. It's like that's exactly where it takes you when you open Seesaw for the first time. It takes you to the journal view. And through the journal view, you can pretty much come and see everything that has been posted by every student in chronological order. So that binder that we were talking about, this is exactly what it is. So if you scroll down, you are going to see everything that has been posted, and the name of the student that posted it will be shown on top of the post. So pretty much it's just scrolling will take you to see everything, and everything is mixed in there by all the students that have shared it with you. So you will see the journal for the teachers, the journal view for the teacher. In their case, they're going to see only their work, so it's only their journal that they get to see there in that view. But in your case, you're going to see everybody's work being turned in at the time it was turned in that order. So that's pretty much what the journal view is. It's just a feed of all the posts that have been shared by students, okay? In here, in each post, you can see the name of this one was by the teacher, by me. So the teacher posted a video for the students to watch. And then you can see the date that it was shared, and you can see little comments. If students added comments to that post, you're going to get to see that part as well. You pretty much, like I said, it's going to be the view of the feed of everything that has been shared. Now, I do want to point something out. Under the journal, you're going to see all your class showing up here. So right now you only get to see 2 students, but in your classes, you're going to get to see either 20, 25 students that are in that class. So scrolling down will take you to see all of the students in this class. But if I wanted to see specific students' journal, then I could click on that student's name, and that's only for that child. So that's everything that child either shared with me or I shared with the child, because it's only going to be mine and that child's. But you're not going to see anybody else's journal. If I click on that child, I'll get to see only the child's journal, okay? Now, one of the features you're probably going to use the most is going to be the activities tab, because usually activities are shared by teachers with students, and then those are the ones we get to check. So in the binder, this activities tab would be that paper that we give the child so they can work on it, okay? So the one that we want to grade is probably what you're going to be looking at mostly. It depends on the activity that your teachers are sharing with your students. But if you click on the activities tab, which I did right here, if I click there, I can see all the activities. And now, like I said, these are activities. They're not necessarily like the other one that I shared a little while ago. There was a little video of me explaining something. That is just a resource that I'm giving my students. In this specific tab, you're going to see only activities that are being shared with students that need to be worked on. Like they have to work on this activity and return it to the teacher so the teacher can check it. Like I said, you're probably going to look at this tab most of the time when you come into the classrooms and look at the activities that students have submitted, maybe give them some feedback or however it's what you're going to be doing with that. But these are the activities that you're assigning to your students. Now, if I go into the activities tab, I can see that there's so many activities already being shared with this class. And they, like I said, they are going to be shown in chronological order. And the most recent will be at the top. This is the most recent activity that I see that was posted. It's create a family dance. So in this activity, students are supposed to create a family dance together, respond in a video format, and then you're supposed to, if you click on it, I'm gonna just click anywhere on this activity. I'm gonna click on it, and it's gonna show me, if I scroll down, it's gonna show you all your responses. In this case, I only have 2 students in this class. It's a sample class, but in your classes, you're gonna see a lot of little boxes, and that would be an easy view of who has turned in your assignments. So it's like the basket of paper that students turn in the classroom. This is exactly what it is, but it's visually really easy to manage because you can see exactly who hasn't turned it in. Let's say I'm going to go into another activity. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. Let's see. If I want to check another activity, any activity, I can just click on it and look at the responses. So for example, this activity has 2 responses. It's only 2 students in this class, like I said, but right here, there's 1 student that already responded, right? So if I click on it, I can pretty much hear the student reading because this one's a recording. So you're not going to be able to hear this, but it's the reading. The student is reading right now, and you will be able to see the student, hear the student reading. There might be some writing here because you see they're reading and they're showing you their screen.
De niño aprendió todo lo que pudo acerca de las plantas. So let's say they're looking at the timer.
So right here, it's a student reading. You can hear their voice. They're pointing at what they're reading, and they're going to be writing their scores on a daily basis. So you can see the students' scores on a daily basis right there. Now, if you're coming in and trying to see and give some feedback to the student, which maybe you are going to be doing that, then one of the things you need to think about is the next thing we're going to look at. Now that I go into that activity, I want to be able to write something over it, like on a paper, right? So how you do that, it's going to be with those 3 little dots underneath that activity. On the lower right-hand corner, there's a little 3 dots that always give you more options and everything. Like this is very important to start recognizing because they are going to give you many options. And it's not just in Seesaw, but in every other application that you're used to. Seeing these ellipses are going to give you more options. So if I click them, I can pretty much, if I know that it's probably something that it's not supposed to be what I asked, and you can delete the item from here, or you can edit the item. So by editing the item, you can go in there and pretty much go in there and check and give them some feedback. So if I go into the edit item, that's where I want us to pay attention to. Really pretty much everything else, it's not going to pertain to what you're going to have to look at right now. We're going to focus on that editing of the item. If I click on edit item, I can go in that activity and I can come in and write some little notes. So the one more thing that I just want to share with you is what you're allowed, like what you're not allowed, but what you're able to do with Seesaw with these integrated tools, which are very neat. I can come in as a teacher and say, okay, I'm going to give you some feedback. Let me just go into this little, these are my tools on the left-hand corner. You have the text, which is the labeling tool. You have a microphone, which you can record a voice comment in there. You can add a photo. If you had like a little virtual sticker, you can add it like a photo. And you can come over here on the bottom and use, you know, the pencil, the marker, the highlighter, that magical tool or an eraser to come in and pretty much write over this page. So if I wanted to come and write and circle a word and just make a point of that word, I could pretty much come in to the lower area where you see the writing tools, the drawing tools. You can use the marker or the pencil. It depends on what you want to use. If I click on the marker, I get more options. So I can pretty much change the pen width, or I can just pretty much start with that first one. And if I want to use that marker, I can start writing. Now, if you notice on the right, you have colors that you can change. So you can change it to another color if I wanted to. And I'm going to start drawing with this pink. It's a marker, so I'm going to circle a word. And then I can pretty much right here make a little arrow. I can use the labeling tool that's on the left-hand corner. And I can start typing, please pay attention to this word. And that could be a little, you know, comment on, you know, keeping your students on track on those words, maybe giving them some feedback as well. With you can really pretty much you can keep on adding more to it. Like if, sorry, you can pretty much add more comments if you wanted to. Like this could be one, and I can put it right there. So I can add another one if I wanted to, just as many as you want to, by coming to the T, to that labeling tool, and adding another comment. I can click on it, and I can type another one that says, great job. And, you know, I can put it wherever I want to. But it's going to be something, and maybe you can change the color so they can notice that it's something that I added new to the page because it's black, and so everything is black. So you can change colors, anything you want to add, you can change the colors of it. And that's pretty much what you can do when you want to come in there and give some feedback. It's editing the items that are there. What I'm going to do now is going back to that, how I got here, and going back to another activity, just so you can start seeing those creative tools that are there that allow you to give some feedback to your students and in what format you can do it, okay? Let me go back. I am going, whenever you're ready, like to post it, if I'm ready to post this comment on my students' portfolio, Seesaw works this way. It's that little check mark that you see in the upper right-hand corner. That's your submit button. So start recognizing Seesaw has this check mark always at some point that allows you to submit something to the journal. So if I click on that little check mark on the upper right-hand corner, it's going to be asking you, this is a comment that I added as an edit, so it's just going to be submitted like that. If I click on that assignment again, I can, okay, so I went back to the, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back. I got out of there. I went back to the journal view. If you want to go and check the activities again, remember you focus on these tabs, and that second one, the little light bulb, that's the activities, okay? The activities that teacher has shared with the students. If I go to the activities tab, I can scroll a little bit down and find the activity that I'm looking for. And like I said, it's all in chronological order. So I am going to look for that one that I was checking a little while ago. I'm going to click on it and scroll a little bit down. You can see the responses. I can pretty much come and say, oh, okay, look, now this one has some feedback in there. I added that feedback, right? So how do we go ahead and do that for other assignments? Well, getting out of here again, get back to your journal view. Remember, journal, activities. These are most important we're going to focus on. Activities tab, I am going to make sure I go to the activities tab and search for an activity that was shared with my students and start checking it, okay? So let me go into that, not that one, but I'm going to check another one. But let me see if there's a response on one. Okay. Let me just find one that has been responded. Oh, this one shows like a response. Okay, so right here, if I want to check this activity, you can pretty much see who has responded. 1 response, 0 waiting for approval. So I'm going to check this one. I can click on the activity, and I can pretty much come over here and see who has turned it in. Like I said, you're going to have a lot of little squares here, and if it has been turned in, you're going to see that the student's work is going to show it's going to show there. And if the student has not turned it in, it's going to be gray, just like this one. Nope, nothing has been turned in. So let me get out of this journal. I'm going to show you one that has some submissions. That way you can see exactly with more squares how that looks, okay? I'm going to go into the, this is another journal. I'm going to go into the activities tab. I'm going to scroll down into the activities and find one that has more responses. That way you can get a view of how many students are in that activity. Okay. Okay, right. Let me find one. Okay, right here. I'm going to open this activity. I found one that's called fractions. There are some of them that are showing up empty. That means that these students have not turned in their assignments, but the ones that have turned it in and need review, I haven't reviewed them, so I can see that it shows that blue box that says review. So those are the ones we need to come in and review. So if I click on this one specifically and review it, it's going to give you the ability to review. You can approve it if you listen to it and you approve it, then you just approve it on the green little box right here. So that means that it's already approved. There, you don't have to give feedback if you don't want to, of course, but in this case, I just approve it and it shows that it's done, right? Now, if I want to go in there and give some feedback, I can do it again the way that I showed you by clicking on those three dots of the activity and editing the item, okay? If I edit the item, then it gives me, again, the ability to go into the activity, look at the tools that are in there, and write some feedback on it, okay? So let me draft. If I click on draft, it lets you like it gives it to you in a draft view. So if you want your students to continue working on it, this little button in orange allows them to know, hey, you need to work on this activity a little more, okay? Sorry, I got out. I'm going to look for another activity. I'm in the activities tab right here. I'm going to go and browse for another activity. It's because I'm looking for you would look at the most recent on top, but since those are not, don't have any responses, I'm looking for one that you can see an example with students' responses there, okay? So let me find one. Okay, right here. So right here, I'm going to choose one student that has, and I can go in there, listen to the video because she made a little video, or I can go into the three dots and edit the item.
¿Y luego qué le pico, Marisol?
Enter.
¿A dónde? ¿Esta o esta?
That's an old activity, it doesn't have the review. Okay, one more time, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go into the activities tab and draft. I'm gonna look at one that is drafted. I need to go in one that has more responses in there. 1 second. Okay, so right here, I can see that the ones that have been turned in have already been checked by the teacher, are already showing up with no little banner on top that says anything. Like this one right here, it's draft. So that means that the student is still working on it. So if it's orange, it means that the student is still working on it, so it might not be done. If a student has been completed already, I can review right here, click on the activity, and I can come in here like I had shown you. If I want to approve it because it's correct, I can just click approve. If I think it needs corrections, I can click send it back. So I can send it back to the student so they can see it and start working on those corrections that they need to work on and then send it back to you. Or if it's not something that I know that it should have
Pues yo
been.
marqué el teléfono que marqué.
Okay, if I
Pero
click
si
on
no me
those
salgo de
three
aquí.
dots, I can edit the item.
Te mandó un link.
If I want
Sí.
to add
Este es
a
el
little,
link.
can we mute our
Yes.
mic, please?
Safari cannot open this page because of the address is invalid.
Okay, so if I go in here, sorry, I had to mute the mic. I can come in here. I went into a draft and I was able to come in here and see all these tools that are embedded in there. so we can give some specific feedback. And if that's the case, then you're going to be able to use either the labeling tool, your mic, a picture, or the ones we were using earlier. I'm going to go back to that marker or a pencil, and pretty much you can come over here and change the color, and you can come in and either check mark, you can do however you're going to be checking your work, or add a little comment.
No me deja join the meeting. No me puedes
Sorry,
comunicar.
Denise, I'm trying to
And
get the
I
people to
will
mute
be
as soon as they come in.
I will be putting some feedback in this activity, okay? So that's pretty much what you are going to be
¿Cuál
looking
era?
when you come into these classrooms. You don't have to overwhelm yourselves with so many
548.
things that are there. I would recommend that you
5-4.
come in here and look at these two tabs. And I am going to share with you a little, like a very easy way to come in and do it right now. If you really are interested in finding out like what I'm doing exactly, you can do on an activity. So I'm going to share with you a link, and you can click on that link, and on at your own time, you can go in and try out any activity that you want, and you can see all those tools that are going to be there. And this is how you're going to see it. This is this is what I'm going to share with you. This activities, it's a library of activities that you can go in there and try out yourselves right now if you want to. I can go into the discovery and find any activity that I'm interested in trying out, and use those tools myself so you can get familiarized with them. I'm going to share this link. Please find one activity that you like from here. I'm just going to click on the first one, okay? So this can be an activity that your teacher shared with your students, and this is what you are going to do. When you see the screen, when you look in the activity, you're going to click on where it says try it, okay? When you click on try it, it's going to take you to, let me sign up for my, I'm signed in, I need to sign up first.
Went wrong.
So when you click on that activity, it's going to take you here. And I strongly recommend that you do this because I can talk and you can hear me, but it doesn't connect until you pretty much go in there and try it yourself. And you'll find that it's not as much. It's just these little tools that are there that are really neat. I'm going to click on the Discover Activities to use today. And here I can find, like I said, any activity that you want to try out as a teacher or as a student. I can come in and I'm just, like I said, for the first one that I find, I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click on try it. Now that I'm signed out of my account, I can come in and try it. So you see how it's giving me these options that I have shown you earlier. These are the options that I would like for you to try out using all of these tools, your erasing tool, your drawing, your highlighter, and try coming in and working it out as a student or as a teacher, giving some feedback. It will give you a very good idea of what you can do with Seesaw. So I'm going to type the link to this specific activities library, which you can try, on the comment box. If you can click on that activity, it will take you straight over here to the library of activities. So find one that you like and come and click on these tools. Come and click on the text and start typing a little comment and move it around. Move it around, change colors, you know, start playing with it and start practicing and seeing what you can do once you're able to see these activities in the classroom in real life. So you can try out the mic, you can try putting in a little picture, like maybe some of you are familiarized with those stickers that are digital stickers. You can put a little sticker in there. You can draw, circle things with your, it's just going to be with your mouse. If you're using a device with your finger, you can do that too with a stylus. You have a highlighter tool that you can come in and use. You know, just come in and try all these tools that are there. And I'm just going to share this link with you. That's pretty much what I think would, you know, be the most important parts of Seesaw that you need to focus on, because there are other options that are not going to be really necessary that you go into. And I'm going to share that link, and please go in to that comment box and start trying them out. They're pretty amazing. I'm just going to paste it there on the comment box. If you can click on it at your own time, go and practice using these activities and giving some feedback, and you'll be more prepared for that. Any, Ms. Castro, do you want to ask, keep the Q&A right now, or would you, I think it's because of the ending of the session, this part of Seesaw. Can we start now with the Q&A?
if you have for Seesaw, just make sure that there's going to be specific questions that we might not know in reference to short-term subs or long-term subs. So we're going to be directing those questions to HR. But if you have any questions specifically about what Ms. Gallegos just taught you, reference the Seesaw at this time, please go ahead and ask them. And then if we see that there are no questions, we'll go ahead and move on to the Google Classroom section of it. If you have questions, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Or no, my bad. Raise your hand so that I can call on you so that we can unmute you. Ms. Alma Garcia, you have a question, ma'am. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes. Do we need a special login ID number to go into Seesaw, or is that just?
I'm referring the ¿cómo se llama, Marisa?
Substitute training.
The training? Yes. 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 But let me tell
I'm
you.
sorry, I can hear some other people talking, but I think the question was previous to that.
Yes, the question was, do I need a special ID number to get into
Giving you an
Seesaw?
overview of Seesaw right now. Like Ms. Castro said, that would be another question that we probably would need to ask HR specifically about how you're going to log in. So I don't have that answer to tell you, but anything related to the specific to the how the platform works or what you can do with it, I can answer.
Okay, so then right
I
now
know
we
there's
can
a
practice on
question
our
that
own, right?
somebody's asking, can I make an account, a personal account? You can make a personal account. It is free. Seesaw is a free platform. You can try it out, create an account and start playing with it. I do recommend that you do that. But if you want to start like just trying out what is there, the link that I gave you will give you access to that, like without having to create an account. Any other questions?
Mute.
Okay. So just keep in mind, you have the journal view, which is your view of everything that has been shared, and one of the ones you're going to have to pay attention mostly is going to be
Hi.
the activities tab. So that's pretty much when you go in there, keep focused on that activities tab, and you'll have a view of all the activities that need to be checked. So I would recommend that you keep an eye on the activities tab. Maybe keep an eye on that journal, because at the first part, you might see a video that the teacher sent to the students with an announcement. You might see some announcements from the teacher in that first view with the journal, but pretty much look at the journal, what's the latest that has been posted by the teacher, and then go focus on that activities tab. And those first activities are the ones that you see at the very top, are going to be the most recent ones shared by your teachers. So just make sure you keep an eye on those. That's how I would like just to keep an eye on those tabs and not, have to look at everything else, because there's aspects of the other areas that you're not going to have to worry about. Ms. Connie has a question. Ms. Connie?
Okay, so the activity, you're gonna send us a link for the activity later. We're not gonna work on it right now. We're not gonna do a practice session now, right?
I'm gonna post it there again. It's already posted there on the comments box. I will share this presentation that I have right now with you as well before we leave with another link, so you can keep it. But if you can make some time to do this on your own, it's pretty much what I did. I just went through those little the embedded tools that are for Seesaw has in there in the activities, which gives you access to drawing or adding, pictures or voice, or maybe adding a comment with text. That's what I would recommend that you can do right now without creating an account. You can do that right now, and that's going to give you a lot, because that's what you're going to end up doing once you're in that class using Seesaw.
And we can do this after the session, right?
Yes, you can do it after your session. And like I said, it's that link that I shared. I'm going to post it one more time. Just click there and look through the activities that are there. Just click on any of them and try it out. It says try it, that green button. It gives you access to try it using all those tools that I went over.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we have a question by Ms. Burkhart. She has her hand raised.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Burkhart. And then after Ms. Burkhart, we'll have Ms. Diana Gomez. If when she's done speaking, Ms. Gomez, if you just unmute
Yes.
yourself.
Okay. Do I type the message or do I ask?
You can
I
No,
ask.
just
you can ask.
Okay, I just want to know, so you're going to send us the link or if we want to play with it?
Yes.
I
So
don't-
if you can click on the comment, the conversation box, it's next to the raise your hand button. If you
Uh-huh.
have, yeah, you can click there and you'll see it. I just posted it and I posted it again. You can click on it and save that link in your computer, save it, bookmark it, play with it and save that. I recommend you save that link because that's where you can come in and try it and start using it right now.
Okay, another question. This is just a hypothetical question. So you walk into a classroom and whatever reason, maybe there's an emergency and the teacher did not leave any activities. Will we have access to go into Seesaw to get the activities?
Yeah.
Denise, you're muted, Denise.
Sorry about that.
No, it's just I'm gonna have to mute because there's quite a few people talking, so I'm having to mute the background.
Yes, I thought that was what happened. Okay, so yes, when you go into activities library, so let's say there's no plans in there because there was an emergency, correct? Like you just said. Okay, so what we can do, and I'm just gonna share this real quick with you. I'm gonna share that activities. I want to show you when you go in there and you want to post, like all of these activities that you're browsing through are available. You can pretty much come in there and say, okay, you know what? I can actually assign one to the students in this case, right? Let me just leave this activities. All the activities that you see here, the ones that I gave you the link for, those you can actually find and also assign them. So if you notice all of these, oh, sorry, somebody's presenting the screen. I'm gonna go back again, okay? So right here, I can browse and find any activity as a teacher because you're gonna be a co-teacher of that class and you can assign it to the students. So there are many different topics. If you know that the teacher is teaching a specific topic, you can browse the activities library and you can actually assign it to the class. So let me log in to my account as a teacher and go back to that journal view. So this is exactly what we see when we come in. If you go to the activities tab again, that little light bulb, if you scroll a little bit down, you have a browse activity library. That same one that I shared with you is actually here in this button. So if I click here, and you had a very good question because that's exactly what might have to happen at times with in your cases, right? So right here, I have the same activities library that I shared with you, and I can also see it. I'm not going to try it, but I am going to assign it this time. So instead of the try button, I can see the assign button here. And if I want to assign this building community growth mindset activity to my students, because like you said, this was an emergency, there were no plans for this activity, for this specific situation. Okay, so you can come into the assign button. Instead of try, I'm going to assign it. And you choose the class. Of course, I have so many classes because I have so many sample classes. But you choose the class if it's going to say there, Ms. Gallegos, second graders, and then you assign it. So that's pretty much what you do. And you're going to see, the students are going to see it in their activities. They're going to see that you shared with them this activity that you chose. So you can come into the library yourselves within Seesaw. You can find that library again, and you can start assigning them through there if that's going to be the case in this situation. But you find that activity library very easily by clicking on the activities tab. Remember, the activities is the most important one. You scroll a little bit down and there's the magic button called the browse activity library, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a bunch of activities shared by other teachers around the world. And by clicking on browse activity library, I get a bunch of activities, the ones that I shared with you in that link. You get to see them all here. and you can pretty much come in. They're usually shown by grade level, where this class is a third grade class. So that's going to be what I see right away. But if you wanted to share another grade level, you can.
Yes, I'm already in the meeting,
So
but I don't know what to do.
can
I
just,
don't know what I'm supposed to do.
that's what you're going to do. You can come into the library and find something that you can share with your students that relates to their learning and assign it. So find it, click on it, and this time I can assign it to the whole class. Assign. This is Ms. Gallegos 2020, 2021, and then I'm going to assign it to that class, and that's it. I can get out of here and get back to my class on the upper right-hand corner. I can get out of the library and of this browse library, and then I can go back to the journal. Here I'm back in the journal. The kids already got that activity. So the kids receive a notification on their app at home, and then they are able to see your assigned activity. And all of a sudden, you're going to start seeing, when you click on this activity, you're going to start seeing all your students being, the ones that are submitting. You're going to see submissions already that you can review. So yes, very good question. Thank you for asking that. You do have access to the library. If you have to assign something, you can do that. It's just the one that I shared with you. It's the same one, but is within C so that you can actually find it, okay?
All right, we're going to take just one more question, Denise. I think it was Peter Danza. And then if you have any more questions, please post them. We still have another platform that we have to show you. Otherwise, this meeting's going to end up taking at least 2 or 3 hours. So please make sure that just go ahead and post your questions. We'll get back to them as soon as we can. So Mr. Peter Danza, you did have your hand up. You will be our last question for this seesaw.
Thank you, ma'am. No, I'm Miss Daza. This is my
I'm
husband is
sorry.
Peter Daza. I'm
Okay, go
Erika
ahead.
Daza. Can you please very quick, can you repeat the very quick, how to choose the teacher assignment very quick because you went too fast.
Okay, where we find the library?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, let me go back. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to log into Seesaw. And once you log in with your credentials, you're going to get to see the view of the journal, the one that I had previously shown you. Remember, you are going to pay attention to these two tabs, journal and activities, okay? And if I go to the activities tab, I can find the ones that have been turned in by the students. But if you want to find one for your class to share with them, to assign to them, you can come and scroll a little bit down. Your names of your students show up here, but you can scroll a little bit down and it's going to be right here. You see how I just scrolled down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so right here, that blue button says Browse Activity Library. This button takes you to that library that I shared with you, where you can see all of these activities shared by other community teachers from the community. Okay, so you can go into the Browse Activity Library, and you can come and browse activities shared by this district, which we also have the district, or the community. So if I come into the community or the district, I can find many other activities shared by other teachers from the district or by the community, by everyone around the world. So I can browse pretty much any topic. You can come and choose the subject, and you can come and write a keyword, and you'll be shown those specific activities related to that keyword or that topic. And like I said, just come and browse. Click on the activity that you are interested in, and then narrative writing, for example. And if you like the activity, then you can assign it by clicking on that green button.
Depending on the grade level, right? Thank you so much.
Yeah, you can search by grade, but usually, like I said, when you come into the library, it shows you the grade level that your class is at. So this is a third grade class that was designed for a third grade class. So it pretty much gives you all third grade activities first. And if you want to go specifically about another grade level, you can change that. And you can come and change whatever you need to change, more specific. But like I said, just browse through those activities and click on the activity to learn more about it. If you really like it and want to share it with the kiddos, click on the assign button.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I'm
right.
Yes, I'm gonna thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please let us know. We're here to help.
Denise, go ahead and go back into the chat, see if there's any questions that you can answer specifically. At this time, Ms. Lorena Martinez, if you could please take over for the Google Classroom part.
Definitely. Good morning once again. So thank you, Ms. Gallegos. I will be starting now with an introduction to Google Classroom for you all. So I'm going to be sharing my screen at this moment. Okay, so like mentioned, we will be discussing how Google Classroom works, the very basics, how you're going to get started. First of all, well, my introduction there, we've already shared Lorena Martinez with the ISET department. And we're going to talk about this learning management system. Google Classroom is a learning management system. Basically, it allows you to manage instruction, and that is how it is known. So if you hear of an LMS, that's what Google Classroom is. There are other learning management systems, such as Microsoft Teams or Schoology, Edmodo, Canvas. So this in particular is Google Classroom, and it is part of the G Suite. Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind to get to Google Classroom, very simple link or URL, classroom.google.com, and I'll show you how to get in just a few minutes. And the way teachers log in is with their full BISD email and their password, BISD email password. So that is something that will be eventually discussed, depending on if you're a permanent sub or not. And then the students sign in with this at the same site, classroom.google.com, at the same link, and they'll sign in with a username that is assigned by the district. It is their ID number, it is an email, and our students in kinder through 12th grade will have one, and it is their ID number at stu.bisd.us. And the password is one assigned to them by the campus. Okay? So Q&A we'll leave towards the end. We're going to jump into Google Classroom now. And the fastest way to get to Google Classroom, again, like I mentioned, is we're going to type classroom.google.com, and you'll see it there at the top.
Lorena, I can't see your share screen.
Oh, you can't?
Not yet.
At all?
Nope.
Oh my, sorry about that. I thought I'd been sharing all this time. Give me a second. What happened? Okay, there we go. Can y'all see it there? Are you good, Ms. Castro? Can
You're
everyone?
good. I can see it now.
So you missed the first part then?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. It seemed like it disappeared on me. Okay, so I was mentioning, Google Classroom is a learning management system. Teachers will sign in at classroom.google.com with their full email address and BISD password, email password, and then students log in with their student ID at stu.bisd.us. Okay, so I'm going to jump into Google Classroom now. And like I said, classroom.google.com is the fastest way to get to Google Classroom. You are going to be prompted to sign in, okay? So you will be prompted to sign in, and you will enter your BISD email and password right here. I'm going to select, there's multiple accounts here, but I'm going to select the my district email account here. So you can see there, my email is lomartinez@bisd.us, and then I enter my password to get into Google Classroom. I tap on next. And then once you log in, this is your Google Classroom dashboard. You'll see a series of containers or classes. So all of these that you see color coded on the top, you'll see this is my third period class. This is a fourth grade class. These are sample classes, okay? So that's why you see a variety, but I have a science class here. So you may see, depending on the level that you will be subbing for, if it's elementary, you'll usually see only one of these, possibly two. But for middle school and high school, there may be a series, one for each content area. Or for the different periods, if it's a science teacher, then he may have a class, one of these containers per period. That's why you see here, this one says second period. And as I scroll down, you'll be able to see the additional classes. Okay, so if you're subbing for upper grades, then you may have to find the class or the period that you're subbing for here. Okay. Of course, the teacher will explain to you further, the classroom teacher that you're
Ms.
subbing for.
Martinez, you're breaking up and you're speaking a little too fast.
Okay.
And I can't understand your
I'll-
training.
I'll raise my voice. Here we go. Is that better? That's my volume.
No, it's not your volume. It's that you're speaking too fast.
Okay.
And I'm not having a chance to see what you're doing or understand because you're breaking up.
Okay, I'll slow down, ma'am. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, so we got here to classroom.google.com, correct? I'll backtrack. And we get to this view. Yes, we signed in with the email and password. Okay, and now we have these different containers. Each one of these containers is for a different class. If it's in elementary, you will probably see only one of these or two. Okay, and we'll go into a class and what it looks like in just a few minutes. If you are in middle school, high school, then you're going to see more of these. Each one of these containers will represent a class or a period. Okay. On the left, on the upper left, you have a main menu and there's classes here. When I tap on classes, this is the view I'm in. If I tap on it, I will see all of these classes that I am teaching. These same classes are what you see here in this view. This is just a menu where you can access them and move through them as well. Okay. There is also a calendar that you can tap on. And this calendar will show the different assignments that are due depending on the class that I select. Right here. So if I select this class here, that will take me to the assignments that are due. Okay. And I can select another class as well. I'm going to go back to the classes menu and tap on that first option. And then I'm going to point out on the top right, you'll see my initial. And that's the way to check what account you're signed in with. In this case, I'm signed in with my BISD email. To the left of that, you see a little tool that's similar to a waffle. Some people call it the waffle. Those are your Google apps. I'm going to tap on that. And there's a series of applications that are also available through this account that you have, the G Suite. Now, we do have trainings, additional trainings on that, but today we're just covering Classroom, which is this icon here, Google Classroom, and that's where we're in now. And to the left of that, if you needed to create a class, then this is how you would create a class, by tapping on the plus. You have Join Class or you have Create Class. Okay, students only see Join Class because they are given a code, or the other option is the teachers add them and then they tap on Join Class in the container, and I'll point that out in a minute as well, once we enter one of these classes. When the teacher is going to create a class, if there is no class, you would tap Create Class, and this is where you can create your very first class. This is how you would go about doing that. So if I wanted to create my very first class, I would put a name. I can put the section if it applies, and then I can put the same, the subject, as you see here. And you can add a room number if that's something you would like to add. And I'm going to tap create. So what I've done here, I'm creating a class from scratch. I entered the class name, the subject, additional information, and this information can be edited. So it's not set in stone. I can change that. Excuse me. When you create a class, it will bring you in immediately into this view, which is the class that I just created. It basically takes you to that class you just created. And by default, it gives you a top or a theme, which you see here. You see some paintbrushes and some paints. On the top left, you see the name of your class. On the top, you see 4 tabs. Where I the tab. There we go. Thank you. We have the classwork tab, which is where we see the assignments. And this is where students and teachers will spend most of their time here and under grades. You have the people tab. So we're moving along the top, the people tab. And under the people tab is where we see the teacher or owner of this class. In this case, I created the class. I can also add a co-teacher. So your teacher may invite you as a co-teacher if you're able to sign in. Okay, so that's an option here. They would invite you by tapping here, and then they could search for you by email. Okay. So this is under the people tab. Below we have the students, and this is where we would add students, and we invite the students the same way we invite teachers by searching for their email. In this case, their email starts with their ID number. So if I wanted to search for a student and I know their ID number, I can type in the ID number. I can also search by name, but if we have students with the same name, then the best option is to search by ID number. And you'll see here that all student accounts end in @stu.bisd.us versus @bisd.us for the teachers. Okay, I'm going to cancel out of that. So as I add students, I will see the list populate right here down at the bottom in this view. And then next to the people tab, you have the grades tab. And under the grades tab is where you would see the grades for the assignments submitted. Okay, this is where you would go to view assignments that have been submitted and that you can see their grades basically. On the top right, you have a gear, and we'll go over those 4 tabs in just a few minutes as well. I'm going to show you what's on the top right. You have a gear for the class settings, and I tapped on that gear, and as you'll notice on the top left, you'll see class settings. This is where I can come back and make any changes to the class name or description. If I scroll further down, I can see a general section which points out a couple of things. You have the code for the
Lorena, is there any way to make the screen bigger?
that better?
There you go. There you go.
Okay, so under this general section, thank you. Right here we have the invite codes. This one here is for Google Classroom. Okay, so you could send this link out if you wanted to copy and paste it. You have the class code to join. This is what some schools are sharing for the students to join versus adding the students with their email, as I showed you right now. But that more than likely is going to be already taken care of by your classroom teacher in your situation. But if that were not the case, then that is the code that they need to join once you create a class. And I'll show you where else you can find that code in just a few minutes. And then this is an option to display the code. This just enlarges the code. So you're going to see it in large view on the screen. And this is very convenient when you're in the classroom. You can display it on the wall for students to copy and join. In our situation, the current situation we're in, we can't display. We can bring it up if students are online and we're in a meeting. That's a way you can bring it up. And then you have additional features here for the stream, classwork on the stream. So the stream, I'll go back to it in a moment and we'll come back to this view. But I do want to point out, you also have a meet link. When the students meet with a teacher through Google Classroom, there is a link for them to join the meeting. So I'll point this one out on my main view under the stream. And this section down at the bottom is the grading. This is where teachers set up their grade book. So basically they do have to come here. If there's going to be grades, they have to select if they want weighted by category or total points. I'm going to select total points. And then I am going to show grades to all students. And you have the option to add grades also by category. So if I tap on add grades by category, this would be, my first category could be assignments. My next category could be quizzes. And I'll add a third category, tests, as an example. Okay, those are up to the teacher to create. Okay, so once I have that set up here, I can save. Okay, I'm going to go back to my class settings. No, cancel. Trying to see my save for some reason. There we go. Is it up at the top? There we go. We save, and those settings are set. If I ever need to come back and make any changes to my main class, then I can come back to the gear, and it takes me to class settings. Okay. So I'm going to go back and briefly talk about the stream, which is where we were at. I usually point this out at the beginning, but I navigated toward the gear. So on the stream, you're going to see a couple of things. This is basically your landing page. The stream is the one that will pop up. And this section is called the stream because it's where your classroom conversation happens. This is where a teacher can post a comment by tapping here in the section here. I can post a comment, welcome to our class. So what I did right here is I tapped on the message, the area to type a message for the student. So it's a welcome message. And again, I am on the stream tab. And here I can select who I want to share this with. If I wanted to select, since I have multiple classes, I could actually send this message to multiple classes without having to, or periods, in the case of middle school, high school, that may have several periods. I could select all of those periods that I wanted to share with, like you'll see here, and not have to notice for 3 classes, I'm going to be posting that message and not have to go into every class and post the message. So that is a benefit from this view. I can also add an item from Google Drive. I can share a link. Let's say there's a really good website article that I want students to read. I can copy and paste the URL here. I'm going to cancel out of that. I can share a file. So if I tap on file, it'll bring up these options. And I can upload from my computer. If I tap upload,
I could only hear.
I can tap my drive, and that'll take me to Google Drive. I share drives, or I can go to start. So any start activities I can go to as well. I'm going to close out of that, and that was the add option. I can add any item from this list here that I select. And then right here, I can tap on post. If I wanted to post this message to that class stream, it's like a wall, like a conversation stream that you may find in social media. I'm going to tap here on post. Actually, next to it, you'll see a little menu, a drop-down arrow. It gives you a menu for posting, for scheduling, or for saving the draft. So in this case, I'm going to post it so that you can see it on the stream. This is what students are going to see. Notice it says it's posting. And now when my students log into my class, they're going to see this message, and it shows the time. What they can do is they can come and comment on this post. On their view, they can add a comment, and I can return a comment. So in order to comment in the stream, you would tap right here. Okay. Now, the reason I pointed that out is that you that you are in the stream, that's the conversation tab. So right below your class name, going back to this section here at the top, you have the class code. Notice it's the same code in the settings. If I tap on here, I can display it. I can copy it.
For the best experience.
And then right below the class code, ladies and gentlemen, you have the Meet link. So you've been hearing of Google Meet. This is where teachers and students have their virtual conferences, meeting. This is where you would need to go to click on the link to meet with a student. So I'm going to generate the link. The very first time you create a class, it will be necessary that you generate the meeting link. So I'm going to tap on generate link. Okay. This is only a one-time thing for each class that is in Google Classroom. So it does state here with Meet video meetings, you can connect with students. It explains what this is. And it also is confirming that you want to generate a Meet link. So I'm going to tap on generate Meet link. And basically that's an address, a web address or URL that it generates. From here, I'm going to make sure it's visible to students, and that's already enabled. I can disable that, but I want it in black here so that the students, when they log into my Ms. Martinez class, Google Classroom, they're going to see this link. I'm going to save that, and they're going to see this link right here at the top. Okay? So if the students need to join and the teacher's going to start the meeting, we decide that every day we're going to be meeting at 9 a.m. Then the students at 9 a.m. would come here and click on this link, and they would be able to join you in Google Meet. Okay, so there I am, and that is how teachers would join through Google Meet, and students with their students. So I'm going to tap on join now, just so you can briefly see. We will have assignments and classwork to discuss. So I did want to point Google Meet out with teachers, teachers with students. We'll be meeting to this view. Okay, at the bottom you have the camera. You have the leave the call. You have the option to turn the camera on again. And then one very useful feature is the turn on captions. And notice that everything that I start to say will start to appear. Hopefully it will pick up my sound. So everything that I say will appear here at the bottom. For some reason, it's not popping up at this moment. But there we go. Now it is. So y'all can see the captions right there at the bottom. This is a very useful feature for students that need this, need to be reading what you're saying as you're having a conversation with them in class. I'm going to turn that feature off. Of course, my mic is enabled there. And then teachers have the option to present their screen as we're doing now through Teams. Teachers have the option to present from here. 3 different options to present. And you have additional features on the far right where those 3 dots, as Ms. Gallegos mentioned, those 3 dots are always, the ellipses are always available in many of the softwares that you're going to be using. And that will bring up additional menu options, okay? Many of which you already see here, like turn on captions. Now, what I do want to point out before I hang up this Google Meet and continue with Google Classroom, on the top right, you have your attendance or attendees, the people that are in the meeting, and you have a chat option here for students to chat with the teacher and each other. So that was the people tab on the left, chat tab on the right. And I'm going to close out of that. And you access that through the top right. Students or people in the meeting, and then your chat. Okay, and on the lower left, you have the meeting information that you can copy. Okay, but students will join through their classes. I'm gonna hang up this call right there with that little red icon. And we're back in Google Classroom. So what we have seen here is that Google Meet is an application that's integrated into Google Classroom. Equivalent to Zoom, if you're familiar and heard of Zoom for virtual conferences, Google Meet is the same, has the same capacity to provide virtual conference meetings, but it is integrated into Google Classroom. So it is very convenient for the students, for the teachers, okay? Another way to get to the Meet link, Class tab. And under the Class tab, you will see Cam there. There. And that's another way to join the Meet. Now, under the classwork tab is where you will spend some time looking at student assignments that have been submitted and creating assignments. So in this case, teachers do create their assignments, or they can bring in assignments that are being shared from other teachers in order to create. Now here you do not see any assignments. That is why you see a blank canvas here. If I tap on create, I can start creating my assignments. Notice I have my first option, assignment. The next one is an extension. You may not see in the next one is an extension. So we're going to move on to quiz assignment, question, material. You have reuse, post, and topic. So if I wanted to create, a topic. Let's say first I want to create a topic to organize my assignments. You're going to see topics such as, it could be first 6 weeks. It varies. Some teachers create topics by content area, by subject, by week. They actually put the weeks, the 17th to the 21st, examples like that. But in this case, I've created a first 6 weeks topic. And there's no assignments. That was just a topic, basically to organize my content. Now I'm going to create an assignment from scratch. Okay, and this is where teachers create their assignment. And a very basic assignment would be language arts assignment. Week 1. This is where you would provide student instructions, so you could write step by steps. So in this case, I'm just giving them one step there. I'm not going to continue. But this is where I would add my assignment. So most of my assignments would already be either in Google Drive. Did I lose y'all?
Yeah, you stopped sharing your screen, Lorena.
There we go. Most of my assignments would be in Google Drive, but I also have the option to add a link. If I wanted to assign a URL, like I said, I can assign from here a link, I can assign a file, I can even add a YouTube video. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go to Google Drive and upload and grab an assignment from there. So I'm going to assign this activity here. This is a vocabulary lesson. And I'm going to select it from my drive and tap on insert. So what I've done is I've gone to my Google Drive. Now, Google Drive is like OneDrive in Office 365. So if you're familiar with OneDrive, Google Drive is the equivalent. So I had this assignment saved under Google Drive. I go to Google Drive. Under Google Drive, I see recent, upload. My upload would be if I have a document on my desktop. Let's say I have a document on my desktop and I want to grab the document. I go to browse and that'll open up all of my files and I can search for my document from here. Okay. In this case, I'm going to go to I went to my drive. And then from here, I can go to my language arts lessons and select an activity. I already selected one, but again, notice that from recent, you have all these options. Recent are any recent assignments that you worked on in Google Cloud, in Google Drive. Upload, you can drag files or browse files from your desktop. My drive is my Google Drive. Shared drives, and then starred, any information that's starred. Okay, so I'm going to close out of that. And again, as you start to use Google Classroom, it'll start to become more familiar to you and you'll be able to navigate it little by little. There are quite a number of features, but once you're in, hopefully you'll be able to navigate it bit by bit. There's a few assignments that are pretty simple to create when you're getting started, and I'll point a couple of ideas out. But right here, anytime you add an attachment that is a Google slide or a document, you'll want to make sure that you change this option here. Extremely important.
I'm sorry, Lorena, I had to mute you because I couldn't find the person that has their mic. So if you can just unmute yourself at this time, Lorena.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, are we good?
Yeah, we're good. It's just that once I get a lot of, and I'm trying to find the person, I can't unmute, I can't mute them, so I have to mute you every now and then.
That's okay.
I'll let you know. Go ahead.
No worries. Okay, so now I've added an assignment, and it was an assignment that I grabbed once again from my Google Drive. And something that you really need to keep in mind that's very important is to switch this to make a copy for each student. That's the beauty of Google Classroom, that this becomes like your Xerox machine. It makes a copy for the students, for each one of them. The other options you have is the student can view a file. That one only allows students to view the file, but they're not able to edit the file. The next option is students can edit the file. So if I were to share this file with all my students, they're all going to be editing this same file document, or slide in this case. Okay, this Google slide is the equivalent of PowerPoint in the Google suite. Okay, so I don't want students to all edit at once. What I want is to make a copy for each student so that they each have their own assignment. Like in the classroom, when I assign some activities in this manner, or when I send some information to them, they each need to have their copy. In this situation, students are going to get a copy in their class. On the right, you have, who do you want to have this assignment? Is it only Ms. Martinez's class? If I tap right here, where it says 4, you're able to select all of the different classes that you want to assign this activity to. So it'll point out how many classes, the same as in the stream when we shared an announcement or a post, it works the same way. So right here, I shared with 3 classes, and that way I don't have to go in and type the same instructions, assign the same activity to all the different classes I have or teach, or the periods, right? I could do that. In this case, let me deselect. If I made a mistake and I don't want to select these, I can go back and make changes. And I'm only going to assign to Ms. Martinez's class. Now, one step further, if in Ms. Martinez's class, I only want to assign it to 2 or 3 students in my class, I could do that. In this case, I don't have students, so I can't pick and choose. But if I had a long list of kiddos here, I could pick and choose. The next option I have here under 4 is grade category and points. I would select, here is where I see my categories. So now I could select, is this an assignment, daily assignment? Is this going to be a quiz? Or is this going to be a test? I'm going to select assignments so you can see where it pops in. And then I am going to leave the points as 100 points. You have the option for ungraded as well. And then right below, I'm going to select a due date. And let's say this is due next Friday. So I would select from the calendar, I can select the date that this assignment is going to be due. I also have a time, the option to enter a time. If you don't want to set a time limit, they can just turn it in August 28th. We could do that. I'm going to leave this as 3:30 p.m. on that Friday. I click outside and it keeps my changes. When I click on that, when I click on the white, it keeps those changes. And next I'm going to select topic. So I have here for 6 weeks. A teacher will probably have all their topics already created so that when you view their class, you'll be able to easily navigate their class. You can also create a topic right there for the activities that you're creating. So I'm going to select first 6 weeks. And then right below, there's an option to add a rubric. In this case, I'm not going to be adding a rubric. And on the top right, I will assign it. Now, all of this information is saving automatically, which is also a really good feature. You don't have to press any save option. It's all being saved for you automatically. In case computer shuts down, power goes down, you will be able to go back and continue working on your assignment wherever you left off. I'm going to tap on this little arrow so you can see other options. I have the option to schedule this. Let's say I did not want to post this assignment today, but I'm getting ready, I'm getting ahead, and I want students to view it on Monday of next week. I can schedule it. And if this assignment's due on Friday, I'm going to schedule it for Monday. So I can do that at 8 a.m. And if I schedule it, I would tap schedule. I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm going to point out the other options. You can save it as a draft. If you started working on the assignment and you didn't get to finish and you still want to find a few more resources, you can save it and come back and work on it later. And the last option is to discard the draft. In this case, I'm going to assign so that you can see it. So I tapped on assign. And it's taking a couple seconds. And now you can see the assignment right here. Notice the due date, August 28th. I'm going to tap on this view here. Any assignment that's in bold is pending. The students haven't viewed it, so that's how they will be able to see their assignments that that they need to work on. And notice on the top, I see the due date. And then in this section, I see how many assignments have been turned in and how many have been assigned. If you have 25 students and you've assigned it to 25 students, it will show here. The reason I show 0 is because I have no students in this class. I'll show you a class with one student in a moment. Then they'll see the assignment. If I tap on view assignment, it will take me to this view here. This is where I can see the assignments that have been turned in. And I'll see a list of students here on the left. Okay. And then again, I'll see how many have turned in and how many were assigned. You'll also see comments from students appear in this section, and I'll show you in a few minutes from another class. So classwork, I'm going to create one more assignment, and that's going to be under question. But the other assignment options you have is quiz assignment. Well, I'll pop into it quickly. Quiz assignment generates a quiz for you where you can add questions. Okay. And it will be graded for you. And then the same options that you have on the right are the same we just discussed under the regular assignment. I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to click on the question assignment. And the question assignment is a really nice feature to ask a question in the morning, maybe that you wanted the students to answer. So right here, I'm just posting a question. Sorry about that. Okay, in this case, I'm asking students what their favorite season is and why. And this is just a question that I'm posting. Right here, you have the option for a short answer or multiple choice. In my case, I'm making this question a short answer. And then on the right, you have which classes you want to share this question with, and then your students. Again, the same options. I'm going to add an assignment. This will be part of our daily assignment. And in this case, I'll have the due date for Friday, this Friday. And I'll leave that with no time. And then under topics, it will be for 6 weeks. So I selected the topic again. And one feature here that I want to point out is when you post a question, you have the option for students to reply to each other. And you also have the option for students to edit the answer. So if you want to use any of these, you can. I can uncheck them. Students replying to each other is always nice because you can have them interact with each other and learn from each other. So I like to leave that checked off. You also have the option for students to edit the answer. Now that is something that you may want to think about because students sometimes post and then a question and a response, and then they look at other students' responses and then they end up copying the same or editing their answer. So this is optional, but basically on the bottom left, you also have options to add content from these other areas from Google Drive. You can add a link, a file, or YouTube, or you can directly create. And this features in all of the different types of assignments. If you don't have anything in your Google Drive yet and you wanted to start creating from scratch, you can go in here and use any of these other applications available to you from your account, from your G Suite. Okay, and I'm going to ask that question. You do have on the top right the option to schedule, to save, or to discard the draft. And I'm going to tap on ask. And you'll notice where it will pop up. close out of this one. Now we have a question for the students to answer, and it is due on the 21st. So they tap on question, and then that is where, in their view, they can answer. Now, students will not have the grades tab. That is the only tab they will not have on their view. Okay, they will go to their classwork, or I'll show you the upcoming in the stream in a moment. The other option you have under create is reuse a post, and that's when a teacher, I'm sorry, material. I did not cover material. Material is any content that's not graded and that students do not have to submit, such as the syllabus, classroom rules. So on the right, you'll see there is no grade grading section here. Okay, that is material. Any material that you need your students to have, you would use the material option for that. And then reuse post is when you want to reuse a post that you possibly had created previously and you want to share with other classes or tweak it. You want to make changes. You had a really good lesson that you wanted to assign and you don't want to recreate it, so you can copy it from your other classes. Okay, and this is taking a while to load. This usually, since there are so many classes here, it will take a while to load. I'm going to close that for now, for time purposes, but basically the reuse is so that you can reuse any assignment that you have from another class and add it to your assignments, to your class. And this is where the grades for your students will appear. And I'm going to show you in another class. Very quickly, going back to the stream on the left, this is a very important section for you and your students to view. Here, if I tap on view all, these are my upcoming assignments. If I tap on view all, it will take me to this section. And I think this will be very useful for you, where you can switch from classes that you are subbing for to view the assignments. But basically here I know that this assignment, if it were turned in, I need to review. On the top it tells me to review, and I can tap on it, or reviewed. These are the assignments that I've already reviewed and submitted and returned to students. So I would tap here and it takes me to this area. If they've submitted their work, I would be able to see it here. So let's go back to our classes and point that out in an actual class with a student. I'm going to tap here on classes. And I'm going to tap on this third period class that has one student. So I can tell here that there's one student. If there were 25 students, that's where I would see it. The number of students in the class, you would be able to see there at a glance. And you also see upcoming assignments. Notice there is an assignment due on Thursday, a math quiz, another question here I have to reply, and then there's a student survey. So I'm going to click on this class, and again, notice the upcoming on the left. If I tap on view all, here we see that there is an assignment assigned, and there's one turned in here, okay? So if I go to assigned, well, we already know that that's been assigned. I tap here, this is a math quiz. Give me a second. Let me go back to my stream. And this is where I can see, I tapped on the assignment under review, and I can see that the student submitted the assignment, okay? And it was a math quiz. Here is the grade. There were only 2 questions. It shows that there was 1 turned in here, 0 assigned anymore because there's only 1 student here. And that is the name of the student. In this case is Google Student 1. You would see student names here on the left, all the way down to the bottom with their ID numbers. And notice here, this student submitted a question. He asked a question. And the question is, and Google Classroom has the option for students to post private comments directly to the teacher. Okay, so in this case, the student asks Ms. Martinez, can you tell me if I submitted my work correctly? Thank you. And then I can add a comment. Yes, I received it. Great job. Okay, and then I can post that. This little, if I bring this view up, I'm trying to see if I can show this. Okay, this little airplane here shoots the email, the message back to the students. So I would tap on that. And now I am replying to this student, and notice it says 2 private comments. I'm going to go back to the class so that I can show you how to get to it from classwork. So I go to classwork, and that was the math quiz. Now notice in this class, I do have a lot more assignments, or a few more assignments. And these are broken down by important class materials. This is scholarship information. We have quizzes, surveys, announcements, and for 6 weeks. In this case, the student turned in this math quiz. And when I tap on view assignment, it takes me back to that view as well. Okay, I'm going to tap on my class. I think the best option is to go to view all, and this is where you can see assignments that need to be reviewed and those that have been reviewed. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the class. Go back to my class because I want to point out the people in this class. If I tap on people, how will you see a student? There is a student right here that you're able to see. On the right, this student has option to email if I wanted to email the student. Generally, all of the information with my student can be through either Classroom here. Keep in mind, this stream is not private. It's for all the class to view. Okay, so this stream is for all the class to view. So you need to keep that in mind.
I am in a meeting. What's up?
Okay. So that basically is Google Classroom in, I'm gonna tap, sorry, I had not shown this last grades with an actual assignment.
I don't have it.
Where you can see under the grades tab, the grade book, notice I have 3 assignments and the only one that's been submitted is the math quiz. Okay, so if I wanted to return it to the student, this is in draft view, what Google has, Google Classroom. The grades are assigned in draft view, and then you can tap on the 3 dots and return it to the student. Okay, so you'll see under grades is where I'm at, and I'm going to tap on return. And I can add a comment here. And I'm just telling the student, thank you for submitting the assignment on time, and I'm going to return that. Okay, so that is basically a general overview of Google Classroom. Of course, we will continue to have trainings. If you would need a refresher once you are using or starting to use, then you can definitely check to see if on our calendar, the professional development calendar is where all of the trainings are posted. Any questions at this time that we can address on Google Classroom?
Just please make sure before we start addressing questions, I'm actually going to add a tab that I need you to sign into. I'm going to put it right now in the chat. in case it's going to be a form. This is to take the attendance for today of what we need. I do need you to fill this out in order for you to get credit. I just sent it. So, and I'll put it in a couple of times. It'll be in the chat. Remember that when you do the chat, you're going to go to the right hand of that hand. And I need you to fill that out so that we can go ahead and take attendance, and you will receive a certificate as soon as you submit um, that information that we're requiring you for you to submit. So before we leave, like Lorena, if you could raise your hand if you have questions. If not, this session is being recorded. We will tell HR, and then they'll be able to direct you as to where they're going to post it. But we are recording. And I do have a question by Ms. Irene Rosales. Yes, ma'am. You need to mute yourself. I apologize.
Playing with the hand to see raise and lower.
Oh, okay. So you're good then. No question.
No question.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Martinez? Ms. Martinez, you did excellent in trying to present that for the Google Classroom. There are quite a few questions in there. We will have HR look over the chat.
Excuse
Hopefully they'll be able to answer some of them. Yes, Ms. Nancy Sanchez.
Excuse me, this is Cristina Cunha.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I need to know where you are looking at where we're going to sign in. I can't find it because my computer's just, it's got a lot of blanks.
Okay, I need you to just kind of move your mouse over people's faces, and you're going to see a black tab go on it. There will be a video camera, a microphone, like a little monitor share screen. Keep going all the way to the right, and you will have a button that says show conversation. It's like a text or like a comment icon on there. You're going to click on there, and then that's going to give you the actual link of where you're going to do the sign in. So I'm doing it as well right now. I already see a couple of people signing in. We have about 180 right now. I've seen 35 people already do the sign in process. So please make sure that you do sign in so that you can get credit for this session.
My computer only has circles and letters, no pictures. So I don't know where to go.
Okay, ma'am, I can't help you on that part. All I can tell you is that no one is sharing their screen at this time. You're going to move your mouse, and it would be right next to a raise your hand feature that has it on there. What's the class
Okay, I think
code?
she means that those letters are where the cameras should be, but it's just the initials, everybody's initials, right?
Okay. Correct. I've got right above it. I've got a Miss Nancy Sanchez who has her hand raised up. Yes, ma'am. How can we help you?
Yes, ma'am. My question
Yeah.
is, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My question is, I just signed in because I didn't get the link on my email. I did sign up on time, but I'm barely signing in. Am I gonna still get credit for this?
You'll be able to see the video, ma'am. Make sure you see the video and sign in on the actual sign in, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Rocha, you have a question, sir.
Yes, I know this question was brought up earlier. As far as logging into Seesaw, do we create a user ID with our own email, or are we going to be given a BISD email, or do you have that answer yet or not yet?
Sir, you can create a practice one so that you can get familiar with the platform.
Yes.
However, HR is still working out the logistics on whether you will actually receive one or not. Most likely, it'll probably be for long-term substitutes.
And how do we know if we're long-term substitutes?
I wouldn't be able to tell you unless you're actually talking to the teacher, sir. But you can contact Mr. Mark Stevens in reference to that.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate
Yes,
your
sir.
help.
Yes, sir. Ms. Tobar, you have your hand up. How can I help you, ma'am?
I'm still trying to sign in. I can't find it.
Okay, Ms. Ida Burkhart, you have your hand. How may I help you, ma'am? Guys, please make sure that you do raise your hand on the raise your hand button, as that's how I'm going to place it on there. It kind of places it on a first come first basis. Next one, I've got Mr. Juan Garcia. Sir, you have a question? Okay, moving on, Miss Marisa Cárdenas, you have a question?
Yes, how do I get credit for this?
Okay, if you go to the chat button on the show conversation, there will be a link there that you can go ahead and enter that link and sign in. And I'm resending it again, just in case we have a whole bunch of people doing their information on the chat. So there will be a link on there that you can go.
Where is the link?
Okay, you're gonna want to hover or go on the screen. It's on the chat, ma'am. So if there's like one that says show conversation, right next to where you raised your hand on the right hand side of that, there's one that says show conversation. You will see a link. It's like a hyperlink that that I've been adding throughout the chat. Let me go ahead and add it again.
Under one name, ma'am?
Under the chat feature, you will
And it
see a
says your
link.
name,
It's
Cynthia S. Castro? No.
my name is Cynthia S. Castro, yes.
Oh, that's the one that you're talking about. Let me click on it.
Correct. I've been sending quite a few of them.
Okay, and
It's the same link. You just click on any one of them. It'll work. It'll take you to the same one.
Google Chrome, Microsoft. I just click OK.
You're going to go in there and yes, ma'am, it's going to take you to the form. Ms. Gomez,
Google Chrome?
wherever it's taking you on the form, ma'am. I don't know if you're using Safari or Google Chrome, but it'll open up one of those links.
Because it's open 3 different ones, which is Google Chrome and Microsoft.
Go ahead and open it on Google Chrome.
Okay.
I don't get anything.
I've got Ms. Diana Gomez. Do you have a question, ma'am? Okay. Moving on, Ms. Rosa M. Saldana, I see that your hand is raised up. Do you have a question, ma'am?
Oh, is that what the hand is for?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. That's what the hand is for.
What hand? Where?
No question?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay. Did I just call on you, ma'am? If not, let me go ahead and call on the ones that have raised their hand.
I don't know where the screen is. I lost it.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Ms. Connie Sue Pinkerton Lopez, do you have a question, ma'am?
We can't get on the chat. We can't get off the screen.
But I mean, the signal, the initials.
Yes, ma'am. The link that you sent was for BISD substitute training attendance, right?
That's correct, ma'am.
And where it asked for electronic signature, I just typed my name again.
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have that.
Ms. Crystal Newton, do you have a question, Ms. Crystal Newton?
Yes, good morning to everybody. I followed the instructions, and I'm not getting any links on the meeting chat to be able to do the documentation to verify that we attended the training.
Okay, can you check again really quick? I'm adding them periodically.
Actually, this meeting chat, that's the only, I sent it in on the bottom and send it, but I don't know the one.
It's just lower.
It'll say Cynthia Castro, and then it says HTTPS, and then the forms. It'll be like a link.
Ma'am, yes, Ms. Castro. So what I do is I log on into that form.
Yes, ma'am, you do.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna try that. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, where do I sign in? It doesn't let
If
me.
you guys could please mute yourself so that I can ask questions, please. All right, next one I've got Miss Estrada or Raina Estrada.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we have another
training as far as how we get the call from substitute, or it'll be the same? Like, will we get a lesson plan, or the teacher will give us the direction to go into their Seesaw account
Ma'am,
or go?
that's going to be a question for human resources. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Blackwell, do you have a question? Ms. Magdalena Solis, do you have a question, ma'am?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my question is if this training will be recorded
Yes,
somewhere
ma'am, this
that,
training is being recorded.
yeah, but like that we can access it and watch it again? Is it
I will
possible?
give it to human resources and then just keep a lookout on the main web BISD page and see where it's going to be posted.
Okay, thank you. So
Okay.
at this time we can log out? Are we
Yes,
done?
once you've already signed into the actual form and you no longer have questions, you can just hang up the little phone and you're good to go. So, because I know I've got quite a few hands still here that I need to get to, but if you are completely done and you've already signed up for your attendance, then you're good. You can just hang up on the phone.
Sign up
Okay,
on the
and
attendance.
just
Go to the link. Go to the
to
link.
check on Ms. Acuña, I think she couldn't get to the form.
No.
She just needs to click on the chat.
Right, that's all they do is click on the chat.
Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a good one.
You too.
Yes. Again, if you all could just mute yourself until I call you. Mr. Salvador Hernandez, you have a question, sir?
I can't sign in. Where or what?
Okay, so if you want to just let me go ahead and mute people because I know I have some chatting on the back. Give me 1 second, sir.
And on the right corner it says, do you hear me or no?
Hold on, sir. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself in a couple seconds. All right, Mr. Hernandez, go ahead and unmute yourself, sir. It's just that I had a lot of background noise. Mr. Hernandez, do you have a question, sir? I can see you, but you're muted, Mr. Hernandez. You have to unmute your
Well, I'm unmuted. I have a question. Virginia Restovich.
How may I help you, ma'am?
I can't, all I see are the people and not the screen that I need to sign in.
Okay, Miss Virginia, if you just kind of move over your mouse to any of the faces that you see, you're going to get like a black toolbar. On that toolbar, you will have where you can have your microphone, you'll have your camera. If you scroll all the way to the right-hand side of that, right next to raising your hand, you will have it looks like a comment box. It says show conversation. In there, you will be able to sign in with that. And I've sent a couple of links. It's all the same link. Just look for my name, Cynthia Castro, and you'll be able to see that.
I don't have that. All I have are the pictures of the participants.
That better.
Okay, do me a favor, Miss Virginia. Send, and anyone else who's having this problem, send me an email to cscastro@bisd.us, and I will send you the link so that you can get on the attendance. Either way, you're still being recorded. That email again is C as in Charlie, S as in Sierra, C as in Charlie, A as in Alpha, S as in Sierra, T as in Tango, R as in Romeo, O as in Oscar, at bisd.us. And you can go ahead and email me and say you were in attendance. I will send you the link if you cannot find it on this chat. Again, we are completely done. So if you're done, you can hang up the phone if you've already signed into the actual form. Mr. Gomez, I do see that you have a question. Okay, Ms. Crystal Newton. I see that you have a question, Ms. Newton.
Yes, Miss Castro, I'm sorry to bother you again. I
No
just have
bother.
one quick question. I did the registration, but I checked the score, it says 0-0. Is that normal?
That's normal.
Okay, and that
Yeah.
completes the training?
That completes the training. Yep.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too, ma'am. Ms. Nancy Sanchez, you have a question?
I was gonna ask the same question she did, because I already signed it. The only thing is, can we see this training all over again?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to be posting it. You can contact Mr. Mark Stevens in Human Resources. He'll let you know where it's going to be posted.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Alma Garcia, do you have questions?
One question, Ms. Castro, again, good morning.
Good
This is
morning,
Mr.
sir.
Garcia.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
the one who's doing training.
Yes.
I already made a copy of my certificate. Do we have to turn it into human resource or?
No, sir. Just make sure you keep that copy of the certificate.
Okay, yeah, because we do normally have a file of what we've trained on and stuff. Okay, appreciate it. I'll
Thank
just
you,
keep
sir.
the copy that I have. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank
Have
you.
a
Have a
good
good
day.
one. You too. Lydia Uribe, do you have a question, ma'am?
No. Doesn't do it like that.
Okay, moving on. Ms. Oralia Gomez, do you have a question?
Hello?
Yes, do you have a question,
Yes,
ma'am?
I've been through the whole training, but I don't know where to click for the certificate.
Ma'am, just go ahead and email me at cscastro@bisd.us.
Okay, with
That
with
is
the question ahead.
cscastro@bisd.us. And I'm going to say it one more time. It's C as in Charlie, S as in Sierra, C as in Charlie, A as in Alpha, S as in Sierra, T as in Tango, R as in Romeo, O as in Oscar @bisd.us.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. You all have a good day. Well, I don't see any more questions in the actual meeting.
Hello.
Hello.
This is,
Yes.
This is Lydia.
Hello.
Yes, this is Lydia Oribe.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I typed in my name, Lydia Oribe, and then I just put arrow.
That's fine,
Is
ma'am.
that it?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sergio Mata.
Yes. What I wanted to know is if this is gonna be real time or is it gonna be one of those where the students check in at their own convenience?
Sir, it depends whether it's a synchronous or asynchronous type of learning model.
Okay, and is that
So chances are when you are doing synchronous, that is real time. So the
okay?
synchronous and that's really when they're going to need the subs is during the synchronous time of delivery of the instruction. So in that case, it would be real time.
Okay, so and that's gonna be that's up to the teacher, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Salvador Hernandez, you have a question, sir? The only thing is that you're muted, sir.
I can't even get to my.
How do you hear me there? Yes?
I can hear somebody speak, yes.
Is that me, Mr. Hernandez?
I can hear you, Mr. Hernandez. How can I help you, sir?
I still can hear the beginning attendance. I don't know.
That's
What-
okay, sir. Just go ahead and email me, sir.
Say, repeat it again.
Just email me and I will share that link with you so that you can sign in through your email. I'll go ahead and share it with you.
You don't have a phone number? I don't even know if I have an email.
I can't hear you, Mr. Hernandez.
I don't even know if I have BISD email. I have an old one.
My new computer froze up.
So how do we do that?
No, I don't either.
Again, sir, I can't really make out what you're saying, Mr. Hernandez. I do apologize. There's an echo, which means that there's multiple people with a microphone on.
Okay, what do I do?
You're going to email me and just say, I could not get the link.
Okay,
And my
what's the address?
CS Castro
CS Castro
at
US.
BISD.US.
ISD.US. And
Yeah.
I go to the BISD.
Well, you go to your open up whatever email you have, Mr. Hernandez, and you're going to type in my email address, cscastro at bisd.us, and then just put on there, I could not access the link. I will reply to your email with the link on there.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Have a good one. Mr. Oscar Trevino? Yes, sir. You're muted, Mr. Trevino. I can't hear you. If you want to unmute your mic.
I'm sorry. Can you
That's
hear me
okay, sir.
now?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. I was a few minutes late in getting my link from Sandy, and I may have missed a few minutes. And did you go over anything that had to do with taking attendance?
Maybe
Hello?
it doesn't.
We
do
went
this.
over the seesaw and we
Oh,
went
yes.
over the Google Classroom in reference to that, Mr. Trevino. But each campus will have their own
This one
set
wasn't working.
guidelines
It's
as
a new
to
one. It's
how
not
they want you to take the
working.
attendance. But if you were late, we will be
Can you
posting
take
this
that off?
recording so that you could see it at a later time.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, does anybody else have any questions that I can help you with? Again, my name is Ms. Castro. I do want to thank Denise Gallegos and Lorena Martinez for assisting us with this training. If you have any other additional questions, please email me, and I'm going to say that email one more time. It is cscastro@bisd.us in reference to the training. If there are specific questions about human resources, please make sure you contact Mr. Mark Stevens. He will be the one to be able to address those questions for you, as the only questions that I can address are the actual training of the modules or of the actual platforms that we just asked. At this time, if you could please hang up this session. This concludes our training for the substitute training for BISD. Thank you so very much.
Castro.
Thank you.
Yes.
I am sorry. I was giving the link real late, and I signed in around 9. Joined the Zoom meeting at 9:50. Would I get penalized for coming in late? And I
No,
had to
that's
do it over
fine.
the phone.
That's okay. You're fine. Just go ahead and send us your, did you already sign in to that actual link that I sent?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
It
that's
gives
fine.
you like email and ID number, and you need to sign your name, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's like 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, then
Thank
you're
you.
good. You can hang up.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye. Once again, thank you so very much. At this time, please go ahead, hang up. Hector, are you there?